The kind of strategy we take to understand disease is about understanding how the genome functions. So it could be applied to any number of diseases. And so we sort of choose a couple as a paradigm to focus our attention on, and then think about how we can apply this broadly to all traits. So we, on purpose, choose pretty diverse traits. So multiple sclerosis is one of the focus areas of our research. It's a disease that's slightly more well understood. There's already a number of effective therapeutic strategies, but there still remains a lot of diversity and heterogeneity in those afflicted with MS. There is an interesting environmental component to multiple sclerosis as well. Such as Epstein-Barr virus, the EBV virus exposure, even pregnancy is a major risk factor for MS. And so it is a great place to start thinking about questions of genetics versus the environment and how they might influence. It's also a disease that is defined as both autoimmune and neurodegenerative. And that automatically implies that there are multiple systems in the body involved. And so with a strategy trying to localize genetic risk variants to different parts of the body, it's a great starting point. Opioid addiction is sort of on the opposite end of the spectrum. We know a lot less about opioid addiction in general, and certainly less about its a genetic component. From twin studies, when you look at two people that have the same genetic information but are raised in different environments, for example, we can conclude that there's a pretty strong genetic component to different substance abuse disorders, like opioid use disorder, but we haven't revealed the context of those genetic changes. So we don't know all of the details about which genetic changes actually contributes to opioid use disorder. And that makes it uniquely challenging compared to MS. So they both just offer different strategies to the same general principle. In terms of genetics, multiple sclerosis has really been thought of as an autoimmune disease. So disease precipitated by the immune system. And the way it works is by attacking the myelin in the brain. So this is this layer that helps protect neurons and enable neurons to send signals efficiently. And so in MS patients, they start losing that protective myelin layer. There are cells in the brain that are responsible for maintaining the myelin or reproducing it. And so in instances of this, in the course of this disease, you'll have flare-ups where there'll be a loss of myelin and then there'll be some recovery period. And so this is what makes some of the dynamics of the disease challenging, because it's not consistent. It sort of is an up and down chronic disorder. And so in terms of our understanding on the genetic side, we've really focused on the autoimmune as a field. The field has really emphasized the autoimmune contribution to the disease. The emphasis for several years was on T cells, recently including B cells, which are sort of lymphoid tissues. But we really wanted to understand what about the cells responsible for myelin in the brain. Are there any genetic changes that influence their function? Because the idea that you could use a therapy to promote myelination in the brain is considered a great way to treat the symptoms directly rather than the cause. And if you're experiencing like neurodegenerative symptoms, you want to treat those directly. MS does have a number of highly effective therapies that have made a big difference for many patients in trying to slow the course of the disease. And they work by affecting the immune system, so preventing the immune system from attacking the brain. But you don't get to address the actual deficits in the brain with those therapies. And so by understanding what genetic changes influence the functions in the brain, we could think about therapeutics that could also directly treat the deficits that arise during the course of the disease.